Alright guys, welcome back to another video. This time we have an iPhone 7 that's in need of a screen replacement. This thing is on iOS 13.5.1 and the battery health is at 85%. And besides the screen, the back is actually in pretty good shape. And I actually bought another device that was locked and had the unable to activate issue, and I took the screen off of it. I'm going to use it on this device. So I am going to use a genuine Apple display, instead of those cheap, crappy aftermarket screens you find on eBay. So first things first, we're going to move the charger out of the way. And then take out those two bottom screws. 1, 2. Now typically I don't recommend you use cheap eBay tools, but that's all I have on hand right now, so that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes the screws will fight back with you. You gotta fight with them for a little bit. There we go. Alright, and since the screen is cracked, but the LCD is still good, I'm going to still try to preserve this display. And like use it as a test display or something for future devices. I think this device has been worked on in the past, so it might be easier to get it apart than usually. Usually there's a water resistant seal that goes around the frame of the device that keeps it water resistant, but it looks like that's been removed before. Alright, now that we're on the phone, I like to lean it up against something like this can of isopropyl alcohol. And what we have now is 1, 2, 3, 4 tri-wing screws. Just gotta make sure you do not lose these screws, because it is very important that you still keep them. Alright, now you can lift this metal piece off. And when you're repairing a phone, or pretty much any device, the number one most important thing you gotta know is disconnect the battery before you do anything else. Just like so. Because if you leave the battery connected and like take off the screen, it could fry something on the motherboard and be a lot harder repair, and at that point, especially for the iPhone 7, it probably wouldn't be worth repairing. But now that that side note's out of the way, next up we need a Phillips head bit. Right here and right here for the camera. Alright, now you just disconnect them. You can use a plastic tool or your fingernails will work. Set the device off to the side. Usually, at this point, I would put on a new water-resistant seal, but I don't have any on hand right now. They're all at work. So, yeah, see, as you can see right there, they're missing a screw on the home button. There's supposed to be a screw right there, but there's only 3 of them when there's supposed to be 4. Luckily, the donor phone has some screws I can steal. I already disassembled the donor phone off camera, so I'm not going to bore y'all with that. My brother and his girlfriend just got home, so if you hear some noises, that's why. So what's next? What you got to do is carefully take a... Oh, never mind then. I was going to say carefully take a blade and slide it underneath the home button right there. But since this device was repaired in the past, I don't need to do that. Just move that out of the way, and we can take the new screen, which still has the adhesive from the last home button. Put the home button back in place, just like so. Alright. Sorry about that, I had to do something real quick. So, you gotta put the screws back in right here. These, if it'll just get on the screwdriver real quick. There we go. Again, these screws will sometimes fight back if you're not careful. Come on, get in there. I'm not going to leave any screws out because that just makes it look like a crappy repair. And I will install the water resistant seal off camera, so don't worry about that. Alright, now that we finally got the home button in, the front camera was also very hazy on the old screen, so I'm just going to keep the one for the donor phone. Just gonna put the camera connector back in right there. Screw that back in. Alright, next screw. I am planning on ordering a new toolkit because these cheap tools aren't cutting it anymore. Alright, and the other important thing to know that is also very important is when you're reassembling, always connect the screen before you connect the battery. Because the same thing can happen as if you disconnect the screen before the battery. You could fry something. So if it'll want to cooperate, you can just put these back in. There we go. And there we go. Those are back in. And then the battery. The metal plate. And the last 4 screws. These screws are not wanting to go in the hole properly. Got to really fight with them before they can go in. If you want, feel free to just skip ahead from this part because it could take a while. If I feel like it, I'll leave a timestamp in the description. Or if I remember. If there's not one, then it probably means I forgot or just didn't feel like it. Alright, now that we've finally got those 4 screws in, we can test out the device. By holding the power button, looks like the battery died during the repair. It does have just a tiny little crack on the bottom right there, but I'm not too worried about it. It's barely noticeable anyway. And again, I will be installing a new water-resistant seal off camera. So, home button seems to work okay. Touch. Alright, now that the phone's working, we can seal up the device, take the final 2 screws, put them at the bottom of the phone. And we're done. Doesn't that look a lot better than before? This is the old screen. the new one. Make sure the front camera's working. Appears to be working all right. And I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time.